What's up, YouTube? My name is Naxxion, and I am an honorary member for Team Mimijul, and this is my Yubel deck profile. In honor of Yubel winning Worlds this year, and with my 4-0 at Locals, I finally decided I would get off my ass and finally record a video of a deck profile list, and this is the deck I've been playing all year. So yeah, I'll just get right into it. Starting off the list, we play the 1 Terror Incarnate and the 1 Yubel. I know some people choose to cut the Terror Incarnate, but a lot of the strength of Yubel really does come from the Terror Incarnate play, and I find this card to be a mandatory one-of, as is the original Yubel. I know a lot of people are playing 2 Spirit, but I actually optimized to play 3. 3 Spirit, especially with opening going to 1, ensures that not only will you be able to open up with a Yubel and see the names more often, but especially with how the board state is going now for the game, a lot of times being able to hard open a Spirit of Yubel will now make your opponent have to play around the fact that this can just give you 1 extra turn to play. And yeah, Spirit of Yubel is crazy. I wouldn't change it from anything less, especially right now. I'm playing the triple copies of Samsara Demon Lotus. I was so happy when this deck was announced and they were retraining a bunch of the cards from the anime. As anyone who knows on my channel or knows me in real life, I'm a huge sucker for the anime, so this is a really fun card to use. The retrain for Gruesome, I play 3. I know there was an argument for a long time if you wanted to play 1 or 2, but the thing about this card is it is an extender card. It is free, and with this being now officially Fiend Link, this deck really needs every extension, and this is one of the best extension cards ever printed in the game. I also optimized to play 2 Dark Beckoning, and I do not play Chaos. I did not ever like playing Chaos. I understand why we needed to play Chaos, but now with opening to 1, you really need to cut down on the package, and 2 ensures that you see it, but opening is always live as well. I would not change that. You play the 1 Shavara. This is basically your 4th copy of Gruesome. And unlike the Gruesome, this also gives you a unique ability. In this case, getting you to set a trap, a brick from the deck. However, still versatile and still does come up sometimes from the middle of the grind game. A really good card. And then, of course, you play 3 Fiendsmith Engraver and Fiendsmith Flurry. I am not calling it Fabled. This is pretty standard. Yeah, this is what really pushes this deck overboard. And then with hand traps, I played 3 Ash, 3 Droll, 3 Imperm, 2 Bell, and 1 Ogre. Droll overperformed for me today. And Imperm is really good. If you know that none of your hand traps are going to do anything, just Imperm the sequence, and all that investment was for absolutely nothing. And it's such a satisfying feeling. And that's one of the cool things, I guess, about this format is there are some decks where if you hit them at a right time, it doesn't matter if you can't stop them. You can just inconvenience them. With the Fiendsmith package, especially now lowered because of Lacrima's banning, Imperming a sequence is huge because now it's just vulnerable and sitting there and doesn't do anything. The hand trap lineup was fine. If I definitely went to a regional, I would have changed up the ratios I played. I just wanted to push past the 10 hand trap mark because just how stuffed this deck can be at times. I played triple copies of Throne. Really, really good card. Really free extension card. Really just a great card in general. One of my favorite field spells. 2 copies of Nightmare Pain. Again, with opening, we had to rearrange the deck, and 2 Pain works out. This ensures not only now does your Spirit actually not plus you anymore, which this can help. In fact, going with 2 Pain feels so much better than playing with 1 even before the hits, because Spirit not being able to plus you or get you anything hurts. And although opening was our way to recur this card, having it for the grind game really helps. And believe it or not, it's still not the worst thing in the world to draw, especially with just how flexible this deck is. 2 pain, I feel like, is the best ratio going forward, since I don't really think this deck is going to be receiving any other support directly or even indirectly. I played the 1 copy of Terraforming, the 1 copy of Opening, the 1 copy of 1-for-1. This just never came up. 1-for-1 did nothing. Terraforming did come up. Opening did come up. But yeah, this is a very easy side card in and out. And depending on the matchup, if you know you're really going to need to push, this is actually not bad to side back in. But, you know, something like Game 2, for example, really easy, simple, strong card to take out. I played the 1 Fiendsmith Tract, and I also opted to play 2 Fiendsmith Sanks. This card is actually really good. This card right here is basically playing another copy of Engraver, but without. First, this also enables Engraver to be used in the late game to search for cards, so you still plus off it, set yourself up in the graveyard, but this also does facilitate the inherent downside of Fiend Link, which is very normal summon reliant. This 1 card right here basically says, I'm going to at least get myself a DDD High Wave King Caesar on the field without committing a single thing. And that's usually enough. And of course, it has a niche effect to return itself. And of course, you have tracked effect to fuse. I did not go into Desiree all day. With Lacrima being hit, it does make it much harder. But a lot of Desiree is weird. Like, it's really good, but this just basically guarantees uninterrupted you a High Wave King Caesar, and that's a phenomenal card to end on right now. So this is basically just free extension and a way to play around your opponent's board more. Then, of course, you play the 1 brick in the deck. Not saying that there aren't other bricks, but this is the worst one to draw, but still really good. I know some people are switching to the target pop, and I don't agree with it. I think this is still the best one. This one right here protects your plays. I got Dark Rulered in one of the games I faced off with, and was able to SP, and it saved me. I would have not been able to do anything otherwise. So yeah, that's the main deck. I believe that was 42 cards. Now for the side deck, I play 3 Phantom of Yubels. This card is basically saying custom card, right? I mean, this card's engine, its extension, its board presence, it's everything that this deck did not need, but they printed it. And boy, am I happy that they did print it. What a freaking awesome card. If not totally unfair. This card is not needed. This deck didn't need it, but I'm glad that it does exist, because if you're going against it, or if you're using it and going against your opponent, this is such a free card to put onto the board. Yeah. And shout outs to Cole from Team Imijol for giving me a Doist version of Phantom of Yubel in the meantime. I also played 1 Fiendsmith Desiree, 1 Necrocut Princess, 1 Arrow Eater, 1 Requiem, 1 Moon, and 1 Sequence. Typical normal lines for Fiendsmith and all the shenanigans that it offers. Not says has, because that's over with Lacrima being banned, but it's still really good. Oh, and one thing I want to just talk about actually before I put this away. One thing I don't think was really addressed with the ban list was the movement to make Fiendsmith more optimal in a Fiend deck than Snake-Eyes, which I think is actually really smart and fits really well with just the whole concept of Fiend Link in the first place, or Fiend Power, whatever you want to call it. Now forcing Arrow Eater to be a Beatrice. This line did not come up all day, nor did Desiree, but still really good cards to have. This is also extension. Yeah, it's just really fun. I also played the 1 copy of DDD. This card overperforms so heavily. The fact that it is twice per turn, the fact that you can chain it off itself, just ridiculous. I don't know why this card's not banned. I would be honest. It's so good. Play the 1 Soul of Rage, the 1 Unchained Soul Lord of Yama, and 1 SP Little Knight to finish off your Unchained combo. This is always going to be good. And if you want my opinion on how to use Yama, you never, ever, almost under most circumstances, want to use this turn effect during your turn. I know there's a lot of players that say that this getting the Proctus effect, while it is true to extend, is good. It's better when your opponent has to play around it. Most of the time, I'm saying most of the time, but I don't think you should be in the habit of wasting the Yama effect or this effect to get into this, or just whatever you want. These are really 3 really insanely strong cards for this deck. And then the final 2 cards I play is 1 Muckraker to go into Griffin. So I'm going to be honest, I don't care that Appaloosa was banned. Yeah, I mean, I play Kashtira and App was fine in it, but I never liked Appaloosa. App felt like an underwhelming investment, whereas this demands an out or you win. And while that may not be the most ideal playstyle for a lot of players, this is simply just game winning. I won at least 2 of my games, or two rounds in 2 of my games just making this board. You have Muckraker, Griffin, DDD, and Phantom of Yubel with the trap set, with Yama and Rage ready to go. It's damn near unbreakable unless they have a board breaker, but even then they can be quite a trouble. And even then, cards like Dark Ruler don't do anything against this because the deck is just able enough to prevent this card from dying. If they cannot out this, they lose. It's that simple. And Muckraker, I do like this card. It does come up. It was especially better when we had Almirage as space to play in this deck, but it's still really good. You almost always just go into this when you know you can get into the Griffin line, which is when your opponent just does not know how to interact with you or can't. For the extra deck, and don't hurt me too badly, I played the 1 Chaos Angel. I know it's kind of crazy, but Chaos Angel under some matchups can work. I like the card. I like the versatility that it adds, since I'm not particularly great with sighting. I know. But Chaos Angel, I did play it once. It didn't really do anything, but the option of it being there is nice. And, of course, with the level 1s that are light, Phantom, making this unaffected, can't be destroyed. The forcing banishing effect is what I'm more interested in, which this deck can sometimes struggle going for game, and that will fix a big issue of it. I played triple copies of Nib. Did not come up today, and you're going to hear a running theme for a bunch of the cards. I played triple copies of Jellyfish. Shoutouts to Trey from Team Mimijul as well for loaning me a set. But this did not come up. I did not draw it. I did not see either or of these cards. I probably will experiment without this, since this card just never comes to my hand. Nib is still too good to not play. I also played 2 copies of Ghost Ogre. So the reason I'm playing Ghost Ogre is in my locals, we do have someone who is thinking of playing Stun. And we thought that person would play that today, but they didn't. For some reason, they wanted to telegraph it. But even then, Ogre is not terrible. It's not like... I'll put it like this. If I went to a regional, I probably would replace this with a Bestial or DD Crow or something else. But at least for the locals, it's not bad. That's why I use this card. And... it did work. Not as much as previous weeks, but it's still a good card. I have no complaints with at least the hand traps, other than just not drawing 6 of them. Triple copies of Cosmic. So again, stun player, don't want to make them enjoy the game, but Cosmic 2 feels needed in this format, especially with just how back row heavy a lot of matchups are. We had a lab player today, and we also had a Rescue-Ace. Those type of decks can show up, and not hitting their correct piece can, in fact, cost you the game down the line. And, it's always good against Runic Stun, because if you're not prepared for it, you will just lose to it. That's why I also play the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, just to get that complete set. And then I played the 2 copies of D-Barrier actually overperformed for me. Declared Synchro and Fusion actually did amazing work. My last match was against Illusion Brand, or I want to say Chimera Branded or Branded Chimera. Declaring Fusion just gave me a turn, and one of my other matches I declared Synchro against Virtual World. It actually won me the game, so I can't really complain. I probably could have optimized the extra and side decks better, but you know, it is what it is. This was actually my second first place with the deck, but I figured I would finally do something and post something for once, Yu-Gi-Oh! Related again on the channel, and just do something in general, again, with honor to Yubel winning Worlds, and hopefully this wasn't the worst video that you ever set your eyes upon, and yeah, there's not much. Please tell me if you thought this deck list was horrible, or decent, or just forgettable, and yeah, that's all. Have a good night.